You're listening to Moviesucktastic.
Kevlar, bitch!
Smith and Wesson, asshole.
I know it. It all sounds like some bad movie.
But back to Fatal Beauty.
Yes, oh, that's right, we're reviewing
We're reviewing Fatal Beauty.
which I hated far less than I did Lords of Salem.
I remembered this movie being worse.
What?
Well,
That's a bad
I should say it's worse than I remember. That's what I meant to say. It's worse than I remember. I knew it was bad when I saw it as a kid, but it's worse than I remember.
You know why? 'Cause as a kid, you're not as familiar with a lot of the cliches that we as we're approaching middle age now. We're watching this is like, and like the dialogue. Really, this is the best dialogue you could come up with. Really, I mean,
Right,
she's a comedian. She could have probably wrote funny lines for you.
Half of her one-liner she probably improv'd.
No.
Or she rewrote for them and said, how about if I say it this way?
No, they would have been funny then. I don't think she did that. Honestly,
You really think so?
she was funnier than that.
I've never found her to be that funny.
That's because most women aren't funny. Period. But she, as far as a female comedian goes, she was funnier as far as being less unfunny.
Okay. All right. Chucks don't bleed.
Oh yeah, no. Well, again, but it's not her genre either. She's not. It's not like Burglar. It's not like a comedy where she's walking around wacky. They're asking her to act seriously in this, and they're asking her to play a hard-nosed cop.
Right.
Well, what? Yeah, so I can't see her writing dialogue for this. I mean, I can see her like taking on personas and attitudes when she gets in, like she does the undercover stuff. But as far as the dialogue, nah, she didn't write any of this. If she did, very little.
I can see her trying to help with some of the one-liners. I can see that, say, this isn't really how I would say it. Can I say it this way? I could see her doing that.
But there aren't any good one-liners.
No, who knows how much worse they could have been without her input. Think of that. That's the scarier part.
Could they have been much worse than there are two things in this world I don't like? One is to be called bitch. The other is steak tartare.
James LaGrosse, who's been in a million movies, yet no one knows who he is.
By the way, in order to have a running gag, you have to have it more than twice.
Okay.
Because she does that again, where there's two things I hate, and one of them is being called a bitch, and then the other one is something that happened recently. Ha ha ha! I get it. It has to happen more than twice to be a running gag.
They
Oh wait. Let's back up a bit. Give the plot. Give the basic plot of the movie.
Basic plot is that there's this new drug on the street called Fatal Beauty. And what ends up happening is she's undercover to try and bust this one character in the film who's bringing shipments in and selling them on the street. They are at the shop where they're cutting it all up and putting it into little baggies. Well, one of their fucking guys is wasted and he's cutting up an entire stock of it the wrong way. And the two main villains of the film they get some insider information that they're going to have these drugs there, so they go in, kill everyone, and steal it, and then they start selling it on the street. The only difference is, because it's pure and cut wrong, as soon as you take it, you go insane, and it almost immediately ODs you. So Whoopi Goldberg's character is trying to stop the selling of this pure cut drug from getting everywhere on the streets. And the one main villain of the film that pretty much controls everything is played by Krull, who is something Yulin. I forget his real name. Well, anyway, he's like the
Harris Yulin.
That's right. He's the mastermind behind it all, and she's after him. She's after for the two guys that stole the drugs. So there's a couple of things that are going on. Sam Elliott is Krull's bodyguard, who he asked to have her followed. So he ends up teaming up with her because his boss tells him to, and then he ends up falling for her. That's it. That's pretty much it.
Pretty much it. And I mean, and there's a lot of actors here that have a lot of past.
Well, Brad Dourif.
That I just mangled the fuck out of that sentence like nobody's business. There are a lot of There are a lot of actors in here who have passed.
There's a lot of actors in here.
They've done stuff too.
They've done stuff.
I mean, you throw Harris Yulin in here, and you throw in Sam Elliott, and then you've got the police chief who's only in like the first third of the film. I guess he gave up early. That's played by John P. Ryan. My favorite film with him is, of course, 3 o'clock. 3 o'clock. You knew it. 3 o'clock High. There will be no fight today.
Don't fuck this up, Mitchell. Fucking love 3 o'clock High.
Classic.
I remember.
Never hear about that anymore.
I know. I remember begging to go see that in the theater, and that's one of the films that I really wanted to see, and I couldn't get it. Couldn't get to see it.
I remember I was watching at the comic store.
Great movie.
Yeah, that was
great movie. I would have challenged it to you just so I could rewatch it, but I can't. I think it's a great film. One of my absolute favorites. I couldn't do it just based on that alone. And
then Brad Dourif, Oscar Academy
Award nominated. I don't think he's ever won.
He won.
I think he was nominated for One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest and was snubbed. He should have won for that, but he didn't.
Okay. For some reason, I thought he won. I mean, he's won a lot of other awards, but like the BAFTA.
Oh,
and that
yeah.
kind of stuff.
Let me just double check.
No, I'm looking. He didn't win for Oscar.
He didn't win an Oscar at all, right?
No. I was mistaken. I don't know this shit. Still, Oscar nominated, award winning actor,
Sure.
and
method actor, through and through.
And just walking through this fucking piece of shit.
Oh yeah. So when they're on the roof screaming, "Fatal Beauty, they want it!" and then they start jumping up and down like little children, going, "Yeah!" It's like, really, just a mere 10 years ago, you were getting nominated for an Oscar.
I think with Brad Dourif, I think with him, he knows. I mean, don't forget, he was in Chucky too.
The voice of Chucky.
Oh, he was in the film too at the beginning.
Oh, that's in the very beginning, before he did the satanic ritual and put himself in a fucking doll. I think but you know what?
What?
Even the voice of Chucky was great.
Right, but what I'm getting at is, I think Brad Dourif's the kind of guy where he knows when to ask what his motivation is, and he knows when to say, "All right, I'll look crazy as soon as the camera starts rolling." It's just
yeah.
He knows.
I mean, I still like Brad Dourif. I mean,
I love him.
I remember seeing Spontaneous Combustion on Cinemax, like late night Cinemax.
Shit. I rented that.
Oh, did you? My first taste of that was on Cinemax, and they showed like a very quick teaser of him just in the car, just going, "I will use my gift," and then fire shoots out of him, and then it's like, on Cinemax, whatever day, whatever time, and I'm like, I need to see this. And I was only like maybe 14 years old, maybe 15 when that came out, if I was that old. I was like, yes.
It was an interesting concept that they failed to use because they kept trying to put too much twists into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. My favorite film with him, hands down, is Exorcist 3.
Oh, yeah. Oh, fuck yeah.
Fucking just...
Yes, they brought William Peter Blatty back to write and direct that one.
Right.
George C. Scott.
Also my favorite George C. Scott film.
Father, I have fish in my tub. I gotta get these goddamn fish out of there.
I just love the end of that. Infidelity.
Oh.
Not a fan of The Exorcist, but I love Exorcist 3. Except for
I still like the original. It's got a lot of elements to it that I still like.
most Satanist scary films are just like not scary.
Usually. Well, I did see that when I was younger, when I was maybe 13 or 14, and it did freak me out a little bit. But, I had heard all these stories about people couldn't sleep for months and, couldn't sleep for days and just couldn't do this. And I'm watching it. I'm like, yeah, I'm okay with this. It's a little creepy, but I'm like, I'm fine with it. It's not a big deal.
Anyway, we keep talking about good films. We keep talking
about
good movies.
What are we doing? Well, there's really not a lot to go on other than the fact that it's a film of poorly made one-liners, a very razor-thin plot, and just... we could...
Very, very closely patterned after Beverly Hills Cop.
Yeah, that's true.
Everything
it only came out 3 years later? Right.
But exact same setup. Cop driving an old beat-up car, has gangster friends, rich guy smuggling drugs, and in California. I mean, the parallels are endless, except that Eddie Murphy pulls it off where Whoopi doesn't. And I don't know if we can blame Whoopi. It's not her thing. I don't know why she said yes to it in the first place. Maybe she thought it was advancement of female acting or women acting in film, as far as like an stereotypical role for a woman, the tough female role. But those only work when they're written well,
right,
and done right.
Mm-hmm. I mentioned this because we had everybody over the house Sunday night, and we talked about it a little bit. I remember.
I wasn't invited.
No? Shit. But we talked a little bit about Fatal Beauty. We didn't talk too much because we knew we would do it tonight. But one of the things that the film is probably most famous for is the deleted sex scene between Sam Elliott and Whoopi Goldberg. And just watching the film, it exists. You absolutely know it exists because they set it up earlier in the movie. When she's out all night, she's doing an 18-hour shift, and then she goes back out on the scene to when the one main drug trafficker, he ends up dead, and she has to ID his body. They set it up when she goes back to the office because the chief, he tells her to go get laid, to go out, get laid and whatnot, and she's like, yeah, get laid, sure. And
get
it's
lucky,
like,
get lucky, get laid, but get out of my face.
Yeah. And she's like, yeah, get laid, right. And that's a setup right there. That's an absolute setup right there. And then later on in the movie, her and Sam Elliott have this supposed moment where she tells her whole backstory of how she used to have a kid and she was a junkie and her kid OD'd on her shit. And that's why she became a cop.
Probably the only truly good moment in the film.
The story, yes.
I mean,
her acting, the acting to tell it, not very good.
I disagree. I think that was I think that was like a glimpse of what was to come as far as Color Purple and all that stuff.
She had done The Color Purple 2 years before this. Those days were long gone.
Well, even more so then.
If you wanted to see her acting chops, watch The Color Purple. You want to see her attempt to remember how to act because Steven Spielberg is telling her how to do it or giving her guidance, watch The Color Purple. You want to watch this and say, shit, how did I do that 2 years ago? I don't remember, but I'll give it a shot. No, I wouldn't be surprised if she called Spielberg and said, hey, what did you tell me to do when we made The Color Purple? Because I don't remember.
I think you're not giving her enough credit. A lot of these comedians are trained actors first and comedians second. She's obviously one of them.
She's not Robin Williams.
If you ever watch her stand up, she's mostly a character comedian, and I think that scene, the dead baby scene, is a good example of her acting abilities, and the rest of the film was just her trying to act in a way that I don't think I think there's a certain point where it's like, okay, I'll just act tough, and there wasn't much else to do with the character, so why go further?
I disagree. I in my head, I envision her trying to act that scene out in a mirror, and just not getting it right. And then finally it's shooting day. And I just don't, I don't agree. I think the transition to her acting out that scene is not very well done. Her emotion does not come across very well at all. Sam Elliott is in the scene. Sam Elliott is in.
The transition is scripted. I mean, the transition of like, oh, I answered the phone and now I have to have a nervous breakdown. I mean, she's working with what she's given. But when she actually sits down and tells the story, that whole part there, that whole monologue, that's what she did as a comedian. That's what she's good at. And I thought she came across great in that part. I mean, I want to give credit where credit's due.
I don't agree, but that's fine.
I think she did more acting. I think she did more acting in that like 4 to 5 minutes than Sam Elliott did in the entire film.
Well, I won't disagree there. I still don't think it was that great. But moving on into the rest of that scene, he ends up, consoling her and telling her it's going to be okay, and then it kind of fades to black, and then you just hear her in the shower asking for Sam Elliott's character. It's like, whatever his name was. The fuck was it? It was Mark, right?
I've got it.
No, Mike. Mark Marshak. Mike Marshak. Just Mike. It's like, where are you? Where are you? We answer the phone.
No. She does not say Mike. She says Marshak.
Oh, whatever.
This is important. Throughout the whole film, it's Marshak and Rizzoli. Marshak and Rizzoli. They call themselves by the last names.
Fine. Any good buddy cop film is going to do that. You're right.
What?
So, any good buddy cop movie is going to do that. He wasn't a cop, but he might as well have been. It was a buddy movie.
All right, Riggs and Murtaugh. I'll give you that.
Am I wrong?
Rippy and the Bean. I don't think it's a rule, but there are good examples that show that, so I'll let that slide.
Oh, really? You're going to let it slide?
I don't think it's a steadfast rule, but there are enough examples to
it
make
isn't,
a good point.
but there is a lot of examples. Okay,
yes,
so
that's why I'm saying.
Thank you. So it moves into the next morning where she's calling his name, and he's not there.
Hold on. There you go. I don't know if that's for me or
was
you.
that for me or for you?
I'm not sure. Just get it out of the way now.
Okay, sounds good. And there's a supposed sex scene between the two of them that did not test well amongst audiences because obviously, even 25 years ago, everyone still has this 50s mentality of interracial relationships, so they cut it.
I don't think that's it. I still disagree with you on that. I don't think it was a fear of racial crossbreeding. I think it was even if it wouldn't fly over as well. Let's be honest, if you're in the flyover states and you're against racial commingling, you're probably also against Whoopi Goldberg films. Period. So
yeah, okay.
I have a feeling it was pulled either because it just didn't work, or. So I think the call was made, but I don't think it was because, we can't have the colored folks sleeping with the white folk. I think it was just a matter of,
Anyway, so, yeah, that got put on the cutting room floor. I hope that it still exists somewhere.
And you don't throw that away.
I hope
Unless
not.
you got a gun to your head, you don't burn that. You save it. You save it for a special day.
Like that 5.5 hour cut of Heaven's Gate.
I still want to see that because
that's said to have been destroyed, but something tells me that it's locked up somewhere in a vault.
Look at the extended version of Metropolis. They found in some rich guy's safe after he died. This shit pops up everywhere. I mean, they lose track of it less these days than back then when they just didn't give a shit. There was no film preservation or restoration. So now, even if they're not going to use it, that shit's somewhere.
Now, isn't there some preservation society about lost film because there's so many movies that are lost and never turn up?
Yeah, the Film Restoration and Preservation Society. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
That's what I'm saying. There's so much attention paid to the fact that films are lost from history forever now, from the past, that these days, and especially now with digital too. I mean,
nowadays, I would be shocked if it happened at any point in today's day and age.
There are so many ways not to lose stuff that I can't see it. I can't. That sex scene, somebody's got that somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, you could pay for a cloud service, and then they can tell you that they can't host your shit. But that's a whole different story altogether.
I know, sour grapes.
Thank you, motherfuckers.
Now, one thing I did notice about the film is they have the antagonistic cops that aren't her partners, because she doesn't have a partner apparently, and who are always busting their chops. Again, like in the first third of the film, once we get into the meat of the story, we lose them. They were just there to show, to give us, to help build her character. Once we're done with them, we don't see them again. But,
yeah, pretty much.
But the two white cops make jokes about her cleaning, being a woman, all these derogatory references, jokingly, in poor taste. And of course, they're big, large, stupid men. But so they got all the derogatory racial references, at least directly, the direct ones. 1 minute and a half, and everything else afterwards is just, oh, you're a woman, or you're poor or whatever. But they finish that, and then it's bitch, cunt, bitch, bitch, bitch.
And she
so that was
being
interesting.
Called bitch.
That was interesting. It's like they couldn't not do it, but they had to do it enough in one shot where that would resonate with you, and it would always be in the back of your head for the rest of the film. So when you come out, you'd think you heard it more.
Oh yeah, and they did it with a character that you were absolutely meant to just despise.
Well, and then she killed right afterwards. So.
Yeah, she fucking got killed. Is it worth dying to just beat up your bitch, your woman that you hate for whatever reason? Is that worth dying for?
It depends if she's listening.
She's not paying attention.
Obviously, that's the incorrect answer. Obviously.
Yeah. Yes.
Now, all she does in the film
you'll get curb stomped.
and this is why I don't think she had a hand in the writing, and why the writing of this film is substandard, is that all she does in retaliation to a lot of these characters, everything she does is dick jokes. It's size jokes, or putting a pistol in the guy's groin. Everything is genital related for her. Mm-hmm. And it's very hackneyed. And I'm just looking at the screenwriter now. Yeah, Romeo is Bleeding. Roadhouse. There you go.
Oh, really? That's why he got Sam Elliott.
right after Fatal Beauty, he did Roadhouse.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Bitch.
I think that's it.
Elephants?
No, there's another one too. Dean Reiser, and he's got. I think he was the cleanup. He has a lot of stuff in here, but it's all TV episodes. He's like a TV writer. So you got a TV writer, and then you've got Roadhouse boy. So that's as good as your dialogue gets. That's it.
Bill Savino, he came up with the story. What's he done?
Television. Yeah. That's it.
Nothing. And the only movie he came up, like a theatrical film that he came up with a story for, was Fatal Beauty. That's it.
Well, at least think. Can you imagine the story ideas he came up with that didn't go with?
Yeah. Romeo was Bleeding. Surprised.
Romeo's Bleeding is a good film.
No, I know. I'm surprised that she had the Hillary Henkin had anything to do with it.
Yeah, I mean that when I saw that led me to wonder if and then Wag the Dog, which I did not care for Wag the Dog at all. I thought it was overhyped. The fact that no one references the film these days, and it was a political film, that shows you how overhyped it was.
Yeah,
you heard it mentioned like every month whenever Clinton did something for a year or two, and after that, everybody just gave up on it. It's
probably her, the jewel in the crown, for her, that Wag the Dog. Realistically, I mean, Romeo is Bleeding is a very good film, but that one, because of the notoriety and the acclaim that it got, that's probably her most, for her anyway, her most beloved achievement as far as screenwriting goes.
Yeah, are you sure it's a her?
Hillary? Her name's Hillary.
Oh, Hillary. Hillary. All right, Hillary can be a guy's name too. So
yeah, it can. I mean, any female name can be a guy's name.
Not any, but Hillary
No,
is
no, no,
one.
no, no. If you're crazy enough to name your child a girl's name, it can happen.
Rebecca is not traditionally a male name. Hillary, however, especially
Doesn't mean
going
you
back,
you can't name your kid your son Rebecca.
but Hillary is recognized as both a male and female name. However, since the middle name is Beth, I'm going to assume that Hillary Beth Henkin is a female. So you're correct.
I've never, and I'm not saying you're not right. I've never heard Hillary also be a male name.
Well, look at Ashley. Ashley's not considered a male name, but it is. If you if you pick up like books of boy names, Ashley is going to be on that list. It's not traditional, but it is considered. Hillary is another one. Hillary can be a man. Again, these days, more often not.
You think that that name has gained more ground since the Evil Dead series?
No, not in the least.
You don't think so?
No, it's like a boy named Sue. I don't think most people would even think of naming their boy Ashley, even if they're fans of the movie. That's just me. I have nothing to back that up. I'm just going by my gut. Now, mind you, you can't take your gut down to the city attorney's office, but I'm going by my gut.
What's your name? Marion Cabretti. I was hoping for a tougher name like Alice.
Thank you for proving that.
Yeah, you're welcome. All right, so to really.
Oh wow!
What?
I have to stop a minute because this is the best name I've ever seen in my life. Delgadillo, the character.
Yeah.
In the movie, the actor's name is Fred Asparagus.
I'm looking at it now. Fred Asparagus.
That is a fucking awesome name.
Fred Asparagus.
Oh, he was the bartender in Three Amigos.
Oh, look at that.
That guy.
Yeah, you're right. And he was in Beverly Hills Cop 3 as well.
I don't remember that. I blocked out most of that. All that matters is
he passed away too in 1998.
Break Into Electric Boogaloo, and his screen debut was in Chips as Weasel.
Weasel.
Yes.
I wonder what he died from. Bet it was probably a stroke. Enlarged heart. He was grossly overweight. So
that doesn't mean anything. It could have been anything.
He was only 51.
He could have been hit by a car.
I think the car wouldn't have made it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think he was a big guy. He was a big guy.
He's a big guy.
Big guy.
That's a tombstone I want to see. Here lies asparagus. And Cheech Marin. That's right. Cheech Marin was the bartender in the opening scene too. That's
right. Very brief.
And then
his name in the film is just bartender.
And from then on, it was like, okay, I want as many bartender roles as humanly possible.
Yeah. He did it so good, though.
Yeah, a lot of names in the film, but again, it's not worth seeing. Best line, of course, is the one that you always remember, which is Kevlar, bitch.
Kevlar, bitch. Smith & Wesson, asshole.
I had copied down.
I wouldn't be surprised if they wrote the whole movie around that fucking line.
That's the only excuse for the film, is if they wrote it around for that line. Now, as I was watching the film, I was writing down. I have a list here of lines of dialogue that either just sounded interesting or weird, or had a rhythm to them, because I was going to do a poem based on the dialogue from the film, but I never got around to it. So, but I do have the dialogue written down.
Okay.
Show this to prove that I'm. Yeah, so that will be a poem eventually, and if I do get that up, we'll post that on Moviesucktastic. I want to try to do a poem for every film review from here on in. I'm trying to stretch my poetry chops, and I love the idea of just doing like a cut and paste type poetry, just from dialogue from the movies. Because especially the worse the dialogue is in the film, the more susceptible it is to maneuvering and manipulating into a more aesthetic form.
Okay. Yeah, sure.
You know, Man on the Moon. How did he get there?
Man on the Moon. Yeah. He likes cheese.
Well, that's from the Beast of Yucca Flats. That's why I have an obsession with the dialogue from that film.
Obviously. Okay. Are we ready to rate this film?
Oh, wow. Is there anything else we forgot to mention? I
don't think so. I mean, it's your typical 80s film. Bad dialogue, worse acting, rip-off of Beverly Hills Cop. They really only 3 years removed. And I think they rushed this one out because Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out the same year, which might have actually done this film in as far as its success. Because if this was released first, maybe it would have been a little more successful.
No.
Maybe. I don't know.
No. I strongly disagree.
It was released October of 1987. You know what? I think Beverly Hills Cop 2...
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah. Beverly Hills Cop 2 came out May of 1987. So it was like 5 months, 4 months, 5 months apart. So, this is not my locker.
That's what this film needed. It should have been Paul Reiser instead of
Sam Elliott?
Yeah.
The name's Conager. Is it? All right, so it's 4.8 on IMDb. I'm actually willing to go a little lower than that. I think a 4 is appropriate because I think a 4.8 puts it too close to average, and I think it's below that. I think it's below average.
Let's put it this way: it deserves 1 star for not being completely horrible. It deserves another star because Ty West wasn't involved.
3 stars because Brad Dourif is in it.
Brad Dourif, and I'll lump every other actor in with him and just say it has enough star power to give it a 3.
Okay.
And 1 star for the Kevlar bitch line because that is memorable.
There you go. 4 stars.
4 stars?
4 stars. Okay. Anyway, all right. So, Solar Babies. Let's go ahead and end the show.
Solar Babies?
Solar Babies.
Solar Babies.
Solar Beefy. Solar Beefy.
Solar Beefy.
We got to get that in a movie challenge somehow. Somehow, some way. Someday. Anyway, all right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for episode 112 of Moviesucktastic. Please go to our website at Moviesucktastic.com. You can download all of our episodes there. You can listen to the show live. You can watch it live. You can also go to iTunes and download our show there as well and give us reviews. You can leave us voicemail at 908-514-4470. You can email us at themovieguys@moviesucktastic.com. You can leave us email right from the website as well. I have that set up. You can also give us movie reviews of your own. You can give us films you want us to review. It's all there. You can go to our Facebook page at facebook.com/Moviesucktastic. Everything that we do for the show is there, like movie trailers and just things that are happening in the entertainment industry goes there.
I'm posting the trailer to Solar Babies as we speak.
Very nice. So, there you go. You have anything to add?
Bag of beefy.
Bag of beefy.
Bag of beefy.
All right, everybody. We'll talk to you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.